hello guys. I'm sorry about that. I think I know what happened there. I think I accidentally said some magic words that automatically stops the stream. And I think when I was saying au revoir to Paolo, I accidentally shut the stream down. I didn't notice at first. I could see you saying what happened, have you finished? But I didn't realise that the stream had stopped. So I was prattling away for another couple of minutes there, sorry. Hopefully you guys will find me again. I don't know if you will. That's a bit of a frustrating... I'm going to have to do something about that. I'm going to have to set up the system so that it doesn't automatically kick me out like that. Hopefully you guys will find the new stream. I can see some of you filtering in. Sorry, I'm sorry. Did something silly. Killed the stream. Sorry about that, everybody. Sorry about that. Technical problems. I'm trying to figure out a way of live streaming whilst I'm sailing. I think that would be interesting. Not to be sort of confused with me sitting in front of the camera talking or whatever, but just live streaming the sail. So you can just drop in, drop out whenever you like. I could do that on a 360-degree camera, and you could drop in and then look around. You know, you could see the sights and the things that I'm experiencing whilst I'm experiencing them. I think that would be kind of cool. Don't quite know how I would do that. The logistics of it are maybe a little too demanding. Technology has moved on quite a lot. I'm going to refresh this chat. If you guys are still there. Oh, we're still chugging along. We're only doing 2 knots now, which is a little frustrating. And maybe turn away a little bit. A slightly better purchase on the sail. But we're already heeling 35 degrees, so really want to push too much harder. Bit better, 3.2 knots. Hey, Techno! Yeah, sorry about that. I was just explaining, I remember that bit of software I told you about earlier, Voice Attack. I use Voice Attack to control my stream sometimes in certain ways. And I think I may have accidentally said one of the keywords that stopped the stream from streaming. So I need to look at that and change it so that I don't keep doing that. So yeah, I think I accidentally ended early. It's kind of funny. I didn't realise what had happened for a few minutes, so I was still prattling away for a while. In fact, it was just a random thing that I looked to see how long I'd been streaming for and realised it said 0. Which obviously is just after I'd accidentally ended the stream. So yes, apologies. Thank you for coming back. I think when I was saying goodbye to Paolo, I think I may have said a few particular words that I shouldn't have probably said. Obviously, I can't repeat now because it would just happen again. So that's something I'm going to have to look into. Technical problems. Wow, look at the way that rain is coming down into my face. If I was actually out there for real, I would be saturated right now. I'm going to have to get a rain hat. I hadn't thought about that. How much are rain hats? Oh, by the way, when I disappeared a few minutes ago, the wife had arranged for the shopping to turn up, and it turned up a couple of hours early. So I just had to go and put all the shopping away with my son. I could have left him to do it on his own, but we'd have probably ended up with orange juice in the freezer and all sorts of craziness. So, needs must, etc., etc. What is a rain hat? Is it even a thing? Rain hats for men. Okay, they look pretty normal. A waterproof bucket rain hat, £22. Oh, there's one here that has got a strap around it, and that's even cheaper. Oh, that one's got a strap around it. Well, that's just the ticket then, isn't it? Perfect. It's another thing ticked off the list. Another bit of equipment that is essential that we have. So I've still got a few bits I've got to pick up. I've got to get my life jacket. The wife and my daughter already have life jackets because they go kayaking occasionally when the mood takes them. So they're sorted. They've got life jackets. I'm going to have to get one of those. I've got a knife for the boat, although I think I've probably bought... I kind of bought a Swiss Army knife, very sharp. But I think I need to buy a sheet knife, because should the boat go over and you get tangled up in one of the lines, you're going to have to cut the line. You need a extremely sharp knife. So I think I maybe need to buy another knife. Flares. I'm not talking about the trousers, although that would be cool. I wouldn't mind a pair of flares. Yeah, flares in case you get into trouble. A VHF radio. The dehydrator that came up with. Techno. That's such a brilliant idea. I'm going to tell the wife about that tonight. I'm going to be so excited. Guess what I've discovered? We can make our own dehydrated food. And she'll be like, wow. So exciting. So there's that. I've got to get a hold of that. We've already got like camping stuff. So we've got kettle that can go on a hob. Tent. I mean, taking a tent with us is a good idea. It's always a good idea. You've got 2 good knives that were made for you. Let me read that again. You've got 2 good knives that got made for you. They're used for camping. One big one helps with wood and the smaller one for food prep. Yeah. Yeah, stick them in general. Well, that's the point. You put your bike in there, didn't you? Oh, we're heeling quite far over. Maximum reef, though. Bloody hell. 22.9 knots. Oh, man! Oh, I like your bike. That is a cool bike, man. I really like your bike. That's a 125, is it? It bloody is as well. That's a nice bike, man. Kudos. Yeah, that's cool, man. Very, very cool. Ooh. Yamaha 750. That's nice as well. That looks so much like my VFR 400. Obviously, bigger engine, but got that kind of 80s, 90s shape about it. Kind of square, but kind of look cool at the same time. Nice bike, man. Very nice. Ah, Alex Hibbert Originals. Brilliant. I shall watch that gleefully. How do I open that in you? Wow, it's one of those. I've seen a chap who's got one of the really old loaf boats, but that one looks like a proper deep sea off the side of a container ship kind of lifeboat. That's cool. They're really big inside as well. Remember, I went on a cruise and they were testing the lifeboats. So they were like mechanically opening them and hanging them off the edge of the ship and moving them around, doing all that kind of cool stuff. It was quite interesting to watch, and as they opened them up and went inside and had a look, we all got to see what they're like inside. Not the most luxurious form of travel, I have to admit. Very much configured so that some people sit above other people. And rather like an aeroplane, if somebody drops one, everybody's going to suffer. So fingers crossed I'll never have to see the inside of one ever. But then, you know, I suppose if you fell off and you landed in the water, you would be most grateful of a lifeboat. Even if it was full of farts. Stale, smelly farts, yeah. Oh, God. How on earth did I get onto that subject? I digress. I digress. I put the knives in chat. I'll have a look in a minute, but my phone is so short on battery, it's going to die. Probably have a look after the stream. Took you ages to find them. Okay. They need to get clean. Well, I appreciate the effort you put into finding them, man. Appreciate it. You see, as you're on holiday, you must have them on you. You must have them with you. You take them everywhere you go. I guess they live in the car, do they? I used to have like a safety box in the car. It had plasters in it, bits of string, a pencil, a knife, torch, like one of those ones that you wind up yourself. I think I lost that when we swapped cars. We are heeling really far. You're like 30, 40 heels. The wind has gone up to 25. I think we're struggling a bit here. Maintaining 3 knots, but the are very perilously heeling over. Sadly, in this game, you can't sink your boat. So there's no... You never know where the limit is because there is no limit. Oh, you had to look through loads of pics. Oh, I see. That makes way more sense. That makes way more sense. This is just one of the ways that AI is going to help us. So if you've got lots of pictures on your phone, you can just ask your AI assistant to find you a picture of some knives, and it will look through all your pictures and just show you the ones that have knives in them. Now, that's very much a first world thing, isn't it? If somebody says, takes me too long to find photographs on my phone. I need an assistant to help me with that. But at the same time, it's kind of cool. You only take them out when you go hiking, fishing, camping or fishing. You don't get done by the law. Good idea. Yeah, it's a good feature. It's a good feature. I've just had to swap my phone. My phone is doing all kinds of weird things. Oh, you got the same phone as me, mate. Yes, you've got that feature then. You've also got the ability to look at a picture or a video or something and draw a circle around it, and it will go and find you where you can buy that item. So if you were like, I don't know, say you were watching Game of Thrones, there was a really nice vase in it. You could pause it on that bit of the film, draw a circle around the vase, and it will go on the internet and find where you can buy that vase from. Why on earth we need these features, I don't know. But there, and it's still kind of cool. There's a browser add-in that will randomly replace a picture on the page with a Nicolas Cage photo. Again, why would you need that? But equally very cool. The last one was Goosed. Yeah, I could see that one being more useful, definitely. I've only just got my S24. I haven't actually officially swapped over yet. I'm sort of in the transition process. It's taken a while. But I'll be honest with you, it doesn't really feel like a particularly more advanced phone. It kind of looks and feels almost identical to my old one. Just that my old one would do weird things. Like sometimes when people ring me, the thing that pops up that allows you to answer the call doesn't pop up. So I can't answer the call, so I have to ring people back. That's a bit of a... Oh, you could take a single object in a picture and take it out and makes it a sticker. Oh, I didn't know that one. Oh, that's kind of cool. This is part of the reason why I haven't transitioned over to my S24 yet, because I genuinely... There's so many new... I mean, there are new things on it, obviously, that I don't know about or I don't know how to do, and I'm going to have to learn them all. Healing quite a lot here, and I don't know what to do. We're getting to the point where I can't do less sail. And I can't bring the halyard down because I have to be pointing into the wind. So this is all I can do. All I can do is just hope that the boat can cope with it. That's a horrible situation to be in. I mean, the only other thing you can do is take the main sail down. I wonder if I could do that. If I take the main sail down and just sail on the jib. Let's give that a quick try. Don't know. Don't know if the jib is the right sail for today. I have to face into the wind, put the boat in irons, and then, only then, can I bring the main sail down. Okay, so it's only going to let me do it that much. That's interesting. That might actually be enough for us to get away with. That might work. The main sail, as you can see, is almost completely in. Because I'd reefed it, can't come fully down. But now the jib is out. I think the jib is too big though. The jib is definitely we'll put the jib away. Say 50% jib. And then a tiny, tiny bit of mainsail. How does that work? Going very slowly. I don't think that's enough sail to get us going at all. See if I can bring the main up a little bit. Try that. That's not fully mainsail. We're heeling 30 degrees and we're still doing 1.5 knots. I think that's going to work. I think we'll roll with that. Seems like a sensible, safe thing to do. Cool. You're having problems sometimes if you're watching in 1440p or higher, it shuts the app down. That is weird. I assume you're talking about YouTube. We went cheap for the first time and bought the A52 phone. Does everything you need. Calls, text, open IMDb to find out who the actor is in this week's Midsummer Murders. Nice. Yeah, I know. A phone, it's weird, isn't it? It's still called a phone, but probably one of the things that a phone is least used for is phone calls these days. Very strange. So it's shutting down the app on your brand new S24. So you have to keep it at 1080. Very odd. I haven't really tested mine out, so I can't say if it does it on mine, but I'll test it and know. I kind of feel like maybe that's something you complain about. Get a bit more sail up in here. It's only 90% sail, but we're already doing 3 knots. I think we found the right combination at last. Slowly getting there. You don't know if it's overheating or... Wow, does it get hot? My old phone gets quite hot. I haven't noticed it on the S24, I've got to be honest. I do try and keep my phone for a long time. I know, I think I know exactly when my phone started playing up, because it was fine till we went on holiday and I left it on the side of the hot tub. And I was under the mistaken impression that my S9 Plus, which is what my old phone is, was waterproof to a certain degree, and it absolutely is not. It is not waterproof at all, and it totally saturated my phone. Totally, it wouldn't charge, it wouldn't turn on. It was absolutely cream crackered. But I dried it out for days and days and days, and it eventually started working again. But since that day, it does now do lots of weird things. Like when you open a YouTube video and you want to leave a comment or something, you have to press the keyboard, I don't know, 150 times before it actually starts typing, and then it's fine. So I don't know if that's Samsung deliberately making my phone rubbish so that I buy a new one, or whether it's because I got it wet that time. Honestly, couldn't tell you. But that's just one of the weird things it does. It definitely behaves oddly. I'm thinking about keeping my S9 for sailing purposes, so I'll get like a waterproof bracket for it, have it mounted to the boat somewhere, then I can use it for navigation and that kind of good stuff. That's the plan. That is the plan. Everything evolves around the boat at the moment. The getting of, sailing of. Ah, yes, I've heard that as well. The best thing for drying out a wet phone is a bowl of dry rice, because it's supposed to soak up all the water. I did do that. I don't think it worked, I'll be honest with you. But I have since seen a recommendation not to do that. You thought distilled water, yeah. The thing is, the problem with an S9 Plus and all modern phones is you can't open it. So you can't get to the battery. So back in the good old days, when they weren't trying to rip us off left, right and centre, if your battery got old and it didn't work very well anymore, just buy a new one from China, and swap the battery over, and away you go. Your phone's working again. But they design it in a way that you can't even get in there now. So distilled water wouldn't work. I can't clean it. So all I ended up doing was resting it upright, because I think some water got in where the charging point is. So I rest it upright on top of a radiator for a couple of days, and that's what seemed to work in the end. I say radiator, it was one of those, we were on holiday in a chalet. It was one of those electric wall heater things. They're just streams of red hot air going up into the phone, and that's what it worked after that. So to keep phone buying, exactly right. Same with bikes. Cars, they're shite compared to the 80s and 90s. Exactly right. My dad's a mechanic as well as a builder, and he used to be able to listen to an engine and figure out what was wrong with it. You can't do that these days. You need computers and all that sort of stuff. Yeah, the metallurgy isn't there anymore. Absolutely. They've destroyed industry. My other half, or my father-in-law, he worked as a stamper in the Midlands, and the iron industry totally getting abused, which is crazy because we make some of the best iron-related products in the whole of the world, pretty much. With the exception of a few places. Yeah. The crazy world we live in I think ideology has overtaken sensibility. A bit of common sense seems to be lacking in favour of appeasing, insert whoever. Always trying to appease somebody at the expense of everybody else's happiness. Crazy world, crazy world. That's, again, another reason why I want to get out on the ocean. Just to forget all the crap that goes on in your daily life. Be out there, at one with the boat. At one with nature. At one with the sea. Hopefully. As I mentioned earlier, the sea doesn't care about you or your sensibilities. Doesn't care what you had for breakfast. How much electricity you used yesterday. Doesn't care about any of that. The sea will kill you in an instant and not even blink. Have you seen this thing? I've noticed, you know, these massive killer whales. There's more and more reports of them attacking boats. And the general consensus seems to be that they're not doing it to be aggressive. They're not doing it to be, you know, to try and kill you and eat you or anything like that. They're just doing it for fun. I struggle to see how that's fun. But what tends to happen is they'll smash into your boat. Bearing in mind these things are like 5 to 10 tons, these fish. They're bigger and heavier than your boat is. And what they try and do is they smash into the hull till they crack it. And when it's cracked and the water's going in and the boat is sinking, then they swim off. It does seem like they're not trying to eat you, admittedly, but I kind of feel like it's an aggressive thing rather than a playful thing. They don't like boats or whatever. I don't know what it is. It's weird. Quite a pretty little boat, this one, isn't it? I tell you what, I have learnt so much in these last 2 months about boats and which ones are good and which ones are bad and why. And one thing that does make me proud is that on the most part, when GRP boats first came out, that's like a plastic, sort of a combined plastic solution that they use to make the hull of the boat, and then they put wood inside of that and so on and so forth. But if you go back to like when I was born, like, you know, the 80s, the 70s and the 80s, it is British built boats that everyone goes to and relies on because they're built like tanks. They're so solid that it makes them incredibly safe. So I'm kind of proud of that long sailing history that we have in this country. Although I don't think the same applies these days. Generally, the boats that are being built these days are less about keeping the sailor safe and more about making the bloke who's selling it money. That tends to be the general consensus, which is a real shame. I think that's pretty much the world all over, isn't it? All about making someone money. So many different species of orca. Really? Really? I didn't know that. And you only found that out a few years back. Yeah. I didn't know that either. You are my life guru. You're expanding my mind, man. Yeah, before the politicians get into everything. You see, I think it's all too easy to point fingers at politicians, and believe me, I think there are many politicians that need not only pointing at, but poking in the eye, firing, and banned from working in politics ever again. But I think they're being manipulated by big business. I think the real scourge of the planet is big business. I think big business are dictating the narrative, paying whatever money so that they can change the media. I mean, a perfect example is the Royal Mail and how they just barefaced lie about that computer system that didn't work properly. They've ruined people's lives. They have taken people's lives. People committed suicide over that. And they just lied and lied and lied and carried on lying. Nobody's gone to prison. Nobody's being held accountable for this. Big business. Money talks and BS walks. Cannot be trusted. Frightening. Absolutely frightening. Water companies. Oh my god, Orb. Unless you're living down here in the south, then you're drinking poo water. That's what I've discovered. They have found contaminated water in every single part of Britain except for here. That's just... I don't even know what word to use to describe that. Unacceptable, I think, is probably the right word. Yeah, that World Economic... Yeah, absolutely, I'm with you on that one. These globalists, they're the problem. They need to be dislodged. They are, I think, ruining the world in favour of their own financial rewards. I mean, when did it happen? When did it happen that businesses just don't care about people anymore? When did that happen? I don't know who said something is only worth what somebody else will pay for it, but I think that mindset change, probably the beginning of the end. Probably the beginning of the end. All comes down to profit. Who cares if it kills out a subspecies of, a particular kind of bird or a fish or, an insect or an animal? Who cares about that? It makes you money. If it makes that one guy richer, then, he'll pay and have the government make a law that makes it okay for him to do whatever it is he's doing. I can't understand how we allow it to be like this. I really don't. Hard water down... Yes, proper hard. Proper hard water down here. Get up in the middle of the night, pour a glass of water, and the water says, "What are you looking at?" Proper hard. Not good for my hair. But at least it doesn't have bits of poo in it. The water, not my hair. Orb, that's a very good point, actually. About the time they had kids working in mines and mills, yeah. Slave labour. That was basically slave labour. There's a pipeline from Scotland going south, taking water down. And defo get them all out. Yeah, 80s and 90s, I think you're right, yeah. After Nixon getting really bad, the Bushes and the Clintons, yeah, absolutely. I think when Sir Winston Churchill left government, I read a lot about Churchill, and based on his writings, because he wrote an awful lot, based on his writings, I actually think that all of this crap that we have to put up with these days started in the late 19th century. And it was getting worse and worse and worse. We were heading in this direction. And then World War One started. And then, in fact, no, I tell a lie. I think it started just after World War One. That's when this started. And it was starting to get bad. And then World War Two happened. And it kind of reset everything. Because, you know, so much of the world destroyed. And so many lives were ruined. And so on and so forth. Kind of reset everything and put everything back, which was a good thing. Not the war, but you know, the fact that it reset everything. I think it's been in the pipelines for a long time, but when Winston Churchill left, I think that just opened the doors for them to come back in and start doing whatever they were doing again. That being said, oh my God, how did I get onto a political conversation? But that being said, the Labour Prime Minister who took over after Winston Churchill built the NHS. So, springs and roundabouts and everything, isn't there? I love the NHS. I think it's one of the most incredible things in the world. And we should protect it at all costs. So, you know, it's not necessarily all bad. There are very few people that are all bad. There's always a bit of good. Someone. The Cold War, exactly. And the way things are going now, I mean, I'm hearing it more and more, but they reckon, you know, war with Russia is just around the corner, they say. I heard yesterday or the day before that there is a consensus that we are unofficially already at war with Russia. It's just that nobody has actually openly admitted it. Frightening thought, frightening prospects. Again, perfect time. Perfect opportunity to buy a boat and get the bloody hell out of here. Go and live in the sea for the next 10 years till it all calms down again. It's all getting sold off, yeah. Yeah, absolutely. I don't think privatisation works, because privatisation then becomes for profit. And as soon as you've got some greedy son of a bitch at the top, everything else below it starts to rot. And the argument is, yeah, but you know, they'll run it like a business and it'll be more effective, but it won't, because the people that it was built to protect, the people at the bottom, you know, everybody, doesn't matter how rich or how poor you are, or how old or how young, you're British, you're born in this country and you know, got a British passport or whatever, or you're a British citizen, then, you know, the NHS is supposed to be there to protect you. Privatise it and it won't be anymore. It'll be about making money. Just go downhill. I can't see a positive solution to that at all. Oh yeah, we're always the one to pay for the F-ups. Yeah. Insurance companies, absolutely. Yeah. And then the banks. I mean, oh God. Should we get into a conversation about bankers? And yes, you are right. The inferred word is the one I was thinking of. Do you remember when banks used to pay you money, put money in their bank? Do you remember that? They called it interest. And it used to be like 4 or 5%. Save your money with us and we'll give you 5% interest on the money you put into the bank. That was a great system. Everybody was happy. They were making money out of our money. We were making money out of our money. Everyone was happy. When did the banks become greedy, thieving mofos? When did that happen? Because it wasn't like that in the 80s. Definitely wasn't like that in the 80s. Do you remember when they started charging us to take money out of ATMs that were not part? Remember that? Oh, my God. I used to walk miles to find a cash point that was for my bank. You know, I'd walk past 10, 15 cash points to get one that was mine so that I didn't have to pay a £2.50 charge. How did government allow that to happen? What is going on in this world? Mortgage, a long-time loan, which at any point they can change the repayment amount. 100% Orb. Rothschilds and Rockefellers, you're not wrong. We're cut from the same cloth, chaps. I think. We come from an era that was just better. And I really do. I think it was the best era. 60s, the 70s and the 80s maybe. 40s, 50s, 60s. I don't know how far back I'd go. Definitely things have changed for the worse. Bank of England is a joke. Absolute joke. Oh, man. Unbelievable. I think if I ever became Prime Minister, one of the laws... So vote for me, guys. Vote for me. Oh, am I supposed to be voting today? It is, isn't it? Is it the 4th today? Crap, I've got to go vote. So yeah, if I ever become PM, I will make a law in this country that a contract is a contract. Right? So, if you make a contract with a mobile phone company and you agree to pay £20 a month, or £100 a month, or whatever, it doesn't matter, for the next 12 months, then that is the contract. They cannot put it up, they cannot put it down, and you cannot not pay it. I can't understand how it's legal for you to sign a contract with a company that then change how much you have to pay based on inflation rates or, you know, external factors that have absolutely nothing to do with you, nothing to do with your contract, nothing to do with your phone. The service they're providing for you hasn't improved. Nothing is better than it was before. You just have to pay more because they're not making enough money. How is that okay? How is that a contract? That's a one-way contract. That is not a contract. That, in my eyes, is daylight robbery. Hey, James, Guy Fawkes Simulator. That's what it's turned into. It wasn't intentional. It wasn't meant to be. See, this is what sailing is all about. It gives you a lot of time to think. A lot of time to process your anger and decide where you want to direct it. It always seems to come back to the same people. Crazy world. It's a crazy world. Yeah, try going to your boss and say I work for X amount a year, but every April I'll tell you what my wage is going to go up to. Yeah, imagine that. Hello, boss. Inflation's gone up by 9%, so that would be a 9% increase on my wages. Has anyone ever had a 9% increase? This is another thing. Oh my God, never ends this. How does inflation go up by 9%? But the cost of food go up by 100% or 50% or 75%. How's that okay? There should be a law that says, yes, you can put your prices up, but only by the amount the inflation goes. No more than that. And why is it big, like these massive businesses? Why can they never earn less next year than they did this year? Why is that not okay? They're still making huge profits. Crazy. Just greedy. Greedy, greedy, greedy. We are getting closer to land, guys. Look at this. I can almost reach out and touch it. We're almost there. Almost in the safety of the harbour. It's not a harbour. The bay. Blue Anchor Bay. Oh, I know why I've heard of Blue Anchor Bay, and it's not because of Blue Anchor Bay at all. It's because of Police Academy, I think. Was that called the Blue Anchor? I think it was, wasn't it? Just thinking back to the some of the Police Academy jokes. It's good. There is too much softness around political and financial talk. I agree. Healthy for us to rant and discuss these things. It is. It is. It is. It is. And I think, I genuinely think politics needs a massive shake-up. Some laws need to be implemented to stop all the corruption. The people need to go to prison. Genuinely. You know, people who... like those two guys who voted on when the next election was, the day before the next election was announced. I mean, they knew it was coming, and they tried to put a bet down to earn themselves a couple of £100,000. They need to go to prison. They need to go to prison, and they need to think about what they've done, and they should be banned from politics. From any form of politics, they should be banned. So simple. Such a simple thing. Such an obvious solution, and yet we don't do it. I can't understand why. The Blue Oyster Bar, that was it, James. Yeah, that was brilliant. Such a funny film. The same reason for why your price per unit of gas increases when the whole price increases, but for some strange reason, this means that your standing charge, which is supposed to be for infrastructure, also has to increase. Yeah. And you'll notice as well, Orb, that when interest prices start coming back down to normal levels, the price increases that they put on, they don't fluctuate. They stay up high. So even when they haven't got interest rates to complain about why the prices have to go up, they're still making more profit than they were before. And then they have a record year because they're making all this extra cash. And then the year after that, they can't make less cash. That's not okay. Even though they basically stole it from everybody. So they think up a new reason why the price of everything has to go up. It's a never-ending circle. Nothing ever gets cheaper, does it? Everything always gets more expensive. Ridiculous. Oil price increases, hits the pump prices in 24 hours. Yep. Yep, when the price of oil decreases, the price of the pump will come down. Eventually, a couple of pennies at a time. 6 months from now. Absolutely right. Absolutely right. Greed, 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 greed. And we're talking about people who've got so... Did you ever see that thing? There was a guy who... I think he used an Excel spreadsheet. And he coloured them all in green. And I think each square was £1 million or something. And he put down enough of these squares to represent how much money this one dude had. And then he coloured it, and then he started colouring them in. So he started colouring them in red, and you would look at this spreadsheet and you would say, can you see the red one? And the point is, there's so many millions of pounds there, you cannot see the red one. And he did 10 million and you can't see it. He did 50 million, you still can't see it. There's so much money in this guy's pocket that I think he got to 150 million or 200 million, I don't know how much. And eventually you could see a tiny, tiny little dot appearing. I mean, that's how much money these people have got, and they're still not happy. They still want more. Just incredible. Just incredible. Full-blown grumpy old man mode. I know. was all better in my day. Nostalgia isn't what it used to be. Crikey Moses. This is another good lesson for me as well, whilst I'm prattling on and bitching and moaning about the state of the country and economics. I'm not really paying attention to what the boat's doing. Like, we're heeling over at 35 degrees, which is more than I said I wanted to allow. But we're also going 3.1 knots, so it's like a trade-off. But I'm not really paying attention. I guess part of it is the game Sailaway. Sailaway doesn't really simulate anything bad, anything dangerous. Which, by definition, makes it not a simulator, but there you go. It's a nice boat, though. What do you think of my boat? I like my boat. Kind of half dinghy. Half dinghy, half boat, this one. 25 feet this is supposed to be. Convinced. I'm not convinced. Could be there, I suppose, yeah. Yeah. Amazing how small a boat is. A 25-foot boat seems like a large thing until you get in it and then you're like, oh, Christ. Not much space in it. Yeah, you're probably right. The boat was probably a tax write-off for the rich, yeah. There are so many loopholes, it's unbelievable. I saw an advert on YouTube the other day, and there's this guy saying, hello, I'm this dude. I make this much money a year, and I do it by not paying any tax. It's all legal, and I can show you how to do it. And I just think, whoa, why doesn't the British tax company sign up to this dude's thing, learn all the techniques and loopholes that he's discovered and shut them all down so that these super rich people don't consistently get through the loopholes? Of course, we all know the answer to that, right? Why do these loopholes not get shut down? Because the rich and famous and powerful people are using them to make themselves lots of money. That's why. And they're in charge of the country, so... makes perfect sense, really. Wonder if I ease this out. If I ease that out and tighten the main sheet in, maybe that'll give us more speed. Kind of about the same. Yeah, didn't really do much of that. Thought the Traveller might ease up somehow. Not that you like Trump, but he had it blob on when running for the first time. Yes, and Clinton attacked him for not paying tax. And he said, well, why didn't your husband close the loopholes then? Exactly right. Exactly right. And then I think he went on to say, we all know why, because you and your friends, your rich friends, use the same loopholes I do to stay rich. Yeah. I mean, that's that in a nutshell. That in a nutshell is what's wrong with the entire world these days. It's all about individual and familiar It's all about individual and familiar wealth rather than national wealth for the whole country to live a better quality of life. Absolutely right. Greed. Greed, greed, greed. Greedy people. Greedy people in charge of the laws that stop greedy people from being greedy. Just saying that out loud is ridiculous. That is the situation. Struggling again, 2.2 knots. I'm going to try something here. I'm going to point more towards the wind and bang on 30 degrees. I'm going to pull the main in tight and then I'm going to try and lose the reef. Turn a bit more. Oh, I had to turn a lot there. That's like 50 degrees before I actually got anything. So, okay, we're still heeling at 35, but now we're doing 5 knots instead of 2. I think that's more sustainable, isn't it? Not perfectly trimmed, but you know, we're going twice as fast. That kind of makes sense. Yeah, the greedy people in power also vote for their own pay increases. I agree. I think that should be something that is put to the public. I think they should say, do you think we've done a good enough job to deserve a pay rise? And then we should all get to vote. Billy Connolly said it best. The desire to be a political should preclude you from ever becoming one. That's genius, James. I tell you what, Billy Connolly is such a legend. Such an incredible man. Such a nice man, I think. Such a genuine person. So funny. So funny and so smart all at the same time. What a top geezer he is. Aren't many comedians like him anymore. Especially in today's climate. Rocking along now. Look at this. This is much better. Should have done this ages ago. That is a lot of heel, though. Have to keep referring back to the IRL equivalent. That is a lot of heel. That's 40 degrees of heel. That's too much. That's going to sink the boat. Let's just put one reef in. We're back down to 3.5 knots. And we're still heeling at 45 degrees now. That's too much. So hang on. If I move the Traveller... There we go. That's what I was after. Now we can sail closer to the wind. Maybe I can open that reef back up. Still 35, 40-degree heel, and we're actually not going much faster at all. I think I just have to accept the fact that there is only so much you can do, and in certain wind conditions you just have to accept the fact that you're going to have to put safety before anything else. Yeah, it's a shame the waves are clipping into the galley. They're not just clipping into the galley, but when the water comes into the cockpit, nothing happens. Like it doesn't actually exist. And I know cockpits have got, you see that sort of wood at the bottom? Below that there is a gap, and that gap is designed to channel water down to the back of the boat and out through a, I think they call it a self-emptying cockpit or something like that. Basically it just lets the water run out the back. None of that's implemented in. Oh, you bought the SimRail Cargo DLC in the sale, and you're looking forward to trying it. Brilliant, Orb. I think that's brilliant. It adds two things. AI traffic and the ability to cold start that train, which is a lot of fun to do. If you get stuck, mate, or you can't do it, I have put a tutorial video up. So feel free to go and watch that. I watched it the other day just to remind myself how to start the train. That's better. Slight adjustment on the mainsail there. We're up to 5 knots again. Heeling at 35 degrees. Okay, I have a lot to learn. I think the more I practice with the setting up the sails and stuff, the more in tune with it I will become. It's all a bit trial and error. I did not think it would take this long to get to the safety of this bay. Sailing is a whole different sort of time zone, isn't it? Starting to get hungry. What time is it? I have no idea how long I've been streaming. 4:15. Close to dinner time. Keeping half an eye on Ship Sim 2024 to see if it's any good. Oh yeah, I'd forgotten about that. Sail the Seas. Sail the Seas. I'm not sure I've heard of that one. Have a look at this picture in Discord. Oh, nice knife. I can, just by looking at them, I can see they're sharp. I can't really. They might not be sharp at all. But they look sharp. And lethal. Sail the Sea. Googleize that. I don't know if I know that one. Sail the Sea. Oh, yes. Oh, I put a little video out on that. Back, a long time back. Is that nearing? Is that nearing release? Is it? Oh, that's cool. Yeah, that looks really good graphically, sublime. And if you go and look at their website, which I'm sure you have, they talk about all the right things about making it realistic and, you know, all the pros and cons of sailing. Same dev who does my garage. Is it? I should know all this, shouldn't I, Orb? I don't know. I will check. It's okay not to know things, just so long as you admit that you don't know them and then do whatever you can to learn more about the subject than you did. That's what I think, anyway. Quite a simple thought process. I have simple rules in my life. And if everybody adhered to them, we'd all get on much better. Yeah, mate. Sorry about that. Let's take a call there. All right. Focus back into game. I don't know how close to Warren Point we're going to have to get before this wind sort of dissipates. I kind of like the seagulls. They're kind of cool. Good target practice. Reminds me of Lee Evans. When he's describing the Great British Seagull. Gives a tip. Roll the sleeves up and they've got a tattoo of an anchor on one arm. One wing. Don't really like seagulls. They're aggressive. Those beaks are nasty looking. Sail the Seas is potentially out Q3 this year. Oh my word. I'm going to have to get onto them, see if I can get a review copy in. Hopefully that game is going to be as good as it looks. I'll tell you another one, Orb, that you might like. This is a game that I was following for years. Damn it, the name escapes me, but you can Google it. Basically, it's something in Glory, and it's about the Titanic. It's a 1-to-1 scale Titanic model, and you can relive the sinking of the Titanic, or you can just explore the Titanic, and it is beautiful. And you can go to every... So there are... You go to every single bedroom, and any any bedrooms that they have the records for will have the name of the person who was in that room on the door, and it will tell you whether or not they survived. Ocean Liners channel. That may be it, actually, yeah. They sent me a demo of the game years ago. And, you know, it must have been 3 or 4 years ago. And it didn't run very well on my PC, so I didn't make a video on it. And then a month or two later, they announced that they were stopping development, that the team had broken down and they were giving up. And then last week, I just stumbled across a video that they'd uploaded, and it's the same game, and it looks like they've really made some huge progress, and it's very exciting. I'm going to try and get hold of them again as well. Seagulls are the politicians of the bird world. Greedy and create a lot of shit when in large numbers. Here, well said, well said. Mine. That's a seagull, sure. Mine. I think the only positive I've ever heard about a seagull is when, back in the 18th century, maybe early 19th century, and somebody had capsized and they're sailing at, you know, sailing across the sea for days and days and days, and they think they're going to die, and then they see a seagull and they know that that means there's land nearby, apparently. I could be wrong. It might not be a seagull, because I'm pretty sure seagulls can sit and float on the sea, can't they? I don't know very much about birds, feathered or otherwise. Right. This has been a great sail, guys. I've really enjoyed sailing along with you lot. You've been most entertaining. You've taught me things. You've made me laugh. You've made me cry. It's been great. It's been like a proper voyage. I'm really excited. I'm even more excited now. If I do manage to get this boat thing sorted and up and running, I mean, maybe not the boat that I'm looking at, maybe not the boat I want, but just something to get out there on the water and be able to live stream that and chat along with you guys whilst we're sailing. I think that would be fantastic. It'd be really awesome. Really hoping I can pull that together and do that. May inspire some people to get out there and do the same thing as well. That's kind of what I'm hoping. Because it seems hopeless at times. I really feel like it's never going to happen. It can't happen. It's too difficult. It's too expensive. But I just kind of have a mentality now that I'm just trying to chip away at it a little bit every day. Learn something new. You know, make some inquiries. Learn a few things. I'm trying to get there. You enjoyed criticising the state of modern politics. Yeah, we can do that again. That's something I think we're all very, very expert at. What's meant for you won't go by you. An interesting one. I like that. Let's hope it's the case. Let's hope it's the case. I really feel like, you know, it's something I should be doing. I feel compelled. I feel like I'm being drawn in that direction. It's happened before and I've ignored it. Try not to let it slip past me again. Very determined this time. Very determined. Stream Democracy 3 and we can all moan in real time. I have an issue with that game. I feel like Democracy 3, like all the things we've discussed today, the changing of the laws to benefit the people and not the individual. I feel like that game won't let you do that. I could be wrong. I didn't really get on with Democracy. I played Democracy 4, the last one I played. I just found it was too restrictive, and it's like, no, unless you adhere to this narrative or this version of this narrative, then you will be kicked out of office immediately. Maybe I'm just rubbish at it. I don't know. Even if the boat falls through, maybe it's not the correct one for you. I think you will need a good boat when the time is right, buddy. Thank you, mate. I hope you're right. I try not to get too attached to any boat. And they do say, to the sailor's tale, I'm sure, they say the sailor doesn't pick the boat picks the sailor. So, it's a nice little way of thinking about it. I am thinking as well, contemplating, because I am a complete rookie, and, you know, it's a huge... I mean, just doing this route here from... I'm going to say Carlisle. It's not Carlisle, is it? What is it called? Cardiff. From Cardiff to Poole. I mean, that's a huge... Look at these waves now. Bloody hell. They're really starting to pick up. Yeah, it's a huge undertaking. And doing this stream today has really made me realise how big a task that is going to be and how challenging it could be. Very eye-opening. So I am thinking along the lines of maybe what I should do, if I'm smart, is get a small boat, like something really small that's basically only big enough for 1 or 2 people. Just get some bloody practice this year. Keep my ear to the ground and see if the right boat turns up whilst I'm doing that. Because otherwise I might just spend the entire season. You can only realistically sail in good weather. You only want to sail in good. I might just end up spending the whole season looking for the right boat and not actually getting any sailing time in. That kind of doesn't feel right either, so... It's a moving process, this one. I'm not entirely sure what's going to happen. But I'm enjoying learning more and more about sailing and boats and all sorts of things. There's so much to learn. Like a never-ending process. Am I sure that's not cats? Am I sure that's not cats? What about the boat picking the sailor? Oh, cat. I see what you mean. I don't know. I genuinely don't know. Maybe it happens more in life than I realise. Nothing compares to hands-on experience. Exactly. Exactly. And if I do get a little sort of... a little sailing boat, then, you know, there's nothing to stop me from using that with a bigger boat, if that makes sense. Because if I am using swing moorings, then I've still got to get from the land to the boat. So if I've got like a little sailboat that can do that, all's good. And unlike a truck on a road hauling a trailer behind it, I think if I put a boat on a rope, the back of the boat, a little boat, I don't think it would slow us down that much. I could be totally wrong. If I leave the sail up, it might cause all sorts of problems. I might be able to go twice as fast. I don't know. If it's anything like ships at sea, what will happen is I'll come into the dock and I'll stop, the boat that's behind me will smash into me and cause me loads of damage. That's what happens in that game. Kind of fun. Golly, 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 golly gosh. Nothing happens fast at sea, does it? Goodness me. It's 4:30 now. I've got to ring my father. And I need to get some dinner at 5. So I think if we're not in a position to drop the anchor in 15 minutes time, I'm going to have to let the old AI finish the route. It's a bit of a shame. But I'll be keeping my eye on the weather. When the weather's right, bring the boat back out again and head down to St Ives. I think it's been a really important learning experience for me today. In my head, sailing into a 20-knot wind was not a big issue. I didn't think it was going to be a problem. I didn't. Fine, just adjust the sails accordingly and away you go. But no, actually, there's a lot more to it than that. Had I have done this in real life, I think I'd really have struggled. I think it would have been a horrendous first sailing experience. So I'm glad I've done this because it's really opened my eyes a bit. Do you think a smaller boat would be harder as it would get carried more by the wind? It's so light. Try and get a medium weight boat. Yeah, I see what you're saying. Consideration. Thing is, I don't want to have 2 boats. Because they're not that cheap to look after. The more you have, the more expensive it's going to be. So, you know. In an ideal world, I would sell one and keep the other, but not as easy as that, I'm discovering. Yeah, the room thing is definitely a consideration. But I'm thinking if I'm just doing, like, practice sailing... You know what I mean? Like learning the terminology, meeting other people. See, this is the other thing. You know, I don't really know any sailors to talk to. And they, I mean, just from an obvious perspective, they must be the best source of information available on Earth. People who actually go out and do this on a regular basis. They're the people that know stuff. So I want to kind of just get out there and do a bit of sailing and get to know some of these people. And you never know, maybe one of them's got a boat for sale, you know? Not what you know, it's who you know, sort of thing. I've done better than you. You'd be docking at Ireland by now. Well, shows how much you know, Orb, because if you were docking in Ireland by now, you'd have done better than I had. Ireland is about 3 days sail that way. This boat. This weather. That's another thing I want to do actually, is I want to sail over to Ireland. I'd really love to do that. I'd love to sail from Ireland to Scotland. I'd love to just do all of it really. Not so easy when you've got a family. Obviously. Can't just get off the boat, go home, like you can in a simulator. You are there for the duration, and then you've got to sail it back as well. If you sail out there, have a horrible time, doesn't matter. You got to sail it back. The pirate went to the doctor about moles on his back. They're benign, BP said. Are you sure? I counted 10. Oh man, that's funny. I've not heard that one before. Kudos. See, making me cry. I told you. Actually made me cry. That was funny. If I live near a dock, go down and ask them for tips, etc. And ask if they could take you out one day for experience. I bet someone would say, yeah, no problem. You know what? I think you're probably right. We're always looking for crew and stuff like that, you know? Probably a really good idea, actually. I could definitely do that. I was thinking as well of contacting a harbour and just saying to them, look, if you've got any jobs that don't require me to have any sort of specialist skills, cleaning up the yard or whatever, I'd happily do that in return for somewhere to dock my boat or getting an experience on a boat or something like that. You know what I mean? A little bit of give and take, you know. I'll help you. I'll scratch your back, you scratch mine, sort of thing. I think that's not a terrible idea. I really want to go to Buckler's Hard as well. Beautiful place. Love to sail in there. The amount of history steeped around that place. Some of the ships that have sailed that water. My goodness me. The Mary Rose built, I believe, sailed through Buckler's Hard. Love to do that as well. So many things I want to tick off my list. I want to do the docks up in Scotland, in the north of Scotland, instead of going over the top, as they call it. I like to cut through and do the docks. Not the docks, sorry, the canal. What do they call those things? Are they docks? Maybe they are docks. Gates, channels, whatever they're called. You know what I'm talking about. Fill in the gaps appropriately, guys. Weird when I look up. It feels like my whole head is tilting the wrong way. How are we doing? What time is it? 5 minutes. Oh, are we going to make it there in 5 minutes? Sure, we're quite going to make it. Canals, yeah. What are the things called though? The canals where they raise and lower the water. What are those things called? Are they docks? I don't think they are called docks. I can't think what they're called. Gates? Bloody hell. You watched a documentary on the raising of the Mary Rose on Netflix. Amazing that they actually managed it. Lots of fighting between the RN and the historians. Yeah, absolutely. Locks! Thank you, Orb. I knew I was close. Docks, locks. What a vow between friends, eh? Is there a local sailing club? There are. Maybe a company that does experience days. Yeah, I've done a couple of experience days. They're not cheap though. They're really not cheap. Is there a lake or a reservoir nearby? Again, there are, but A, they won't let you take your own boat there, and B, they want to charge you an absolute fortune to go out and do a bit of sailing. I mean, like £100 to go out and do a couple of hours sailing. It's unsustainable, you know. I'm not a rich man. I haven't got that sort of cash. Whatever I do, just be careful. You need your weekly dose of ultimate realism. Yes, I will. I will be careful. I'd love to do it for real. I'd love to. There's so many things I'd love to try out for real. I need to get on and do them. Mooring costs normally about a £5 per metre per day. You might have to sweep a lot for that. Yeah, I know. I know. I think the cheapest mooring I found was about 50 quid a month. £5 per metre per day. Yeah, I suppose, yeah. If you're mooring on a harbour, it's going to be more expensive. Got all the facilities and stuff that they offer as well, though, I suppose. That's the trade-off. That's why you're saying the docks as on lakes, the company charge way too much, yeah. I think you're right. I mean, I suppose all I need to do is just go and meet one sailor, and off the back of that, there's a chance to meet his mate that's a sailor, and his mate who's a sailor, and so on and so forth. Tap into the area somehow. No worries, Orb. Family first, mate. Family first. I need to go do the same in a minute, actually. I'm going to have to kill this route. Bit of a bummer. Took me ages. So we'll kill that route off. Oh, can I save it? Would you like to open your voyage library? Yep, okay. Okay. Jolly good. Now, I would like to save it. It hasn't opened. It didn't open. Yes, it did. Bluetown Community, Wales, United Kingdom to St Ives Bay, St England. Okay, cool. Fracking. So, now I can clear the routes. Start a new one from here. I don't know why it does that. It zooms out and just chucks a stupid route in right where you don't want it. Look at that. Way down there. Ability. Starting point. That was weird, it moved all by itself. Make sure to put the starting point in front of the boat and not behind the boat. Come down there, I think. .4 nautical miles. I think that's good. There we go. Set auto navigation to sail the laid out track. What we're after. Perfect. Oh, there's an option. I never thought of that. These boats also have engines, don't they? Sometimes when the weather is bad, the best thing to do is put the sails down and start the engine. That's probably the biggest lesson I've learnt today, is that that is always an option. Well, hopefully, as long as the engine's fail or whatever. Somebody would take a free deckhand for the day. Yeah, I'm sure they would. Sorry for the silly question, but does it have to be a sailboat? Are you interested in motorboat? No, not a silly question at all, James. Very sensible question. I have no interest in motorboats at all. I am all about sailing under the power of the wind. That's the thing that... It's not really the boat at all. It's the ability to travel long distances under the power of the wind. That's what encapsulates me. I'm excited about. So yeah, motorboats are no good for me at all. But I appreciate the idea. Right. Thank you for watching, everybody. I can't believe I've been streaming for 2 hours, plus however long the first stream was. And we've barely got very far at all, have we? Let's have a quick look. Blimey. Started off there. And we've only got that far. Goodness me. Goodness. I'm going to have to wait for a better weather window than today. That has been a hard slog, but a great experience at the same time. And you guys have been awesome, so thank you so much. You are great. Yeah, that's it. I'm going to wrap it up. Thank you so much for watching, everyone. Hopefully we'll do this again soon, and other such simulation games. But yeah, for today, that's it. Take care of yourselves, guys. I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye for now.